Kramer's story was never about trophies. It was about speed, deception, and an empire built on smoke and salt water. This isn't just the rise and fall of a champion. This is the story of how one man turned the high-octane world of offshore racing into the front lines of one of the largest drug smuggling operations in American history. This is the story of Ben Kramer and the shadow that followed Apache Powerboats. Ben Kramer was born into Miami's seductive chaos in the 1950s. His father owned a successful pawn shop chain, but young Ben wasn't interested in watches or wedding rings. He had his eyes on the ocean. By the early 1980s, Kramer wasn't just racing powerboats, he was dominating them. He became the face of Apache Powerboats, a legendary manufacturer known for sleek, muscular hulls that slice through waves like razors. Built for competition, but capable of something much more dangerous. To the public, Kramer was a charismatic poster child for the American dream. But to federal agents quietly circling Miami, he was the myth at the center of a sprawling, multi-million-dollar cocaine trafficking network that leveraged one key advantage: speed. Apache boats weren't just beautiful, they were fast enough to outrun the Coast Guard. And Kramer knew it. Under the radar, sometimes literally, Apache boats became the vessel of choice for running shipments from Colombia through the Caribbean past Florida's watery border.
Between 1981 and 1986, millions of dollars of cocaine were quietly ferried into the U.S. using the very boats he helped make famous. But it wasn't just Kramer's personal wealth that raised suspicions. It was the lifestyle. He wasn't just racing boats, he was flying private, gambling in Vegas, buying gold-plated everything, and cutting deals with people whose names were never spoken out loud. By 1986, the DEA and U.S. Customs had had enough. Kramer was indicted in one of the largest drug cases in U.S. history at the time, accused of being the financier and logistical mastermind of an operation that had imported over 500,000 pounds of marijuana and an untold volume of cocaine into the U.S. He fled, to the surprise of absolutely no one in law enforcement. Ben Kramer didn't stick around to face the music. He disappeared into the Caribbean, reportedly living under fake names in hidden villas and protected by people who owed him favors or feared him.
But on a warm day in 1987, U.S. Marshals caught a break. Kramer had been lured to the Dominican Republic on the promise of a business deal. Instead, he was ambushed, captured, and extradited to the United States in handcuffs. But here's where the story shifts from speedboats and sunshine to something darker. Facing life in prison and surrounded by co-conspirators who were flipping for lighter sentences, Kramer grew paranoid. In 1989, while awaiting trial, he reportedly attempted to orchestrate a murder from behind bars, a hit on Don Aronow, the founder of cigarette boats and one of the most iconic figures in offshore racing. Aronow had once been Kramer's rival, mentor, and possibly his silent enemy. The two had history. It was whispered that Aronow had worked with federal agencies to steer suspicion toward Kramer in exchange for leniency in his own dealings. On February 3rd, 1987, Don Aronow was gunned down in broad daylight, shot in his car just after leaving the Thunderboat Row Strip in North Miami. The murder was brutal, efficient, and unsolved for years. Many believe that Ben Kramer had orchestrated it from afar. The government believed it too. In 1996, nearly a decade later, Kramer was formally charged for his alleged role in the murder. While he denied involvement, the weight of his past and his enemies caught up to him. He was already serving time for trafficking and money laundering. Now he faced the specter of murder. He cut a deal. In exchange for avoiding the death penalty, Kramer pled guilty to second-degree murder and received an additional 19 years on top of his already long sentence. From the roar of the ocean to the silence of a cell, Ben Kramer's world had shrunk to concrete and regret. Today, Apache Powerboats still exists. The name lives on, scrubbed clean by time and distance from the man who helped make it infamous. You'll find tribute pages, diehard fans, and collectors who obsess over the sleek designs, few of them knowing the full story of how Apache's legend was fueled by more than gasoline. Was Kramer a criminal genius or just a speed-addicted pawn in a larger game? A villain, or a byproduct of a city, a decade, and a lifestyle built on excess? In the end, Ben Kramer tried to outrun the law, just like he outran every other boat on the water. But even the fastest hull can't outrun history.